First human trials. Would you volunteer? Welcome back to School of Soul. I'm Adeline Atlas, 11 times published author, and this is the Science of Age Reversal series. Every scientific breakthrough begins with a line no one wants to cross, until someone finally does. In the case of age reversal, that line is human experimentation. Not theoretical, not animal trials. Human bodies injected, altered, edited, and watched closely as time either slows down or something else goes terribly wrong. Which leads to the question we all have to confront at some point. Would you volunteer? Would you be the first to receive an unapproved gene therapy? Would you allow your cells to be reprogrammed with lab-built RNA? Would you risk accelerating cancer, triggering autoimmunity, or waking up as a biological outlier for the possibility of becoming younger? Because that's where we are now. The trials have begun. Let's start with the basics. Most of the current human testing for age reversal falls into two categories: off-label medical experiments done in loosely regulated clinics, and formal clinical trials backed by biotech firms aiming to prove efficacy and safety for future FDA approval. Both are active, both are recruiting, and both require a certain kind of person to step forward, someone willing to risk their life in order to change the future of humanity. Take BioViva, the company that made headlines when its CEO, Elizabeth Parrish, became the first known person to self-administer gene therapy aimed at reversing aging. She received 2 genetic modifications, one to extend telomeres, the other to increase muscle mass, and claimed a reversal of biological markers afterward. No regulatory approval, no long-term safety profile, just a calculated leap into the unknown. Then there are trials happening in the shadows, clinics in Latin America, the Middle East, Eastern Europe, offering gene infusions, stem cell cocktails, and mRNA longevity injections for those who can pay, sign a waiver, and disappear off-grid for monitoring. No oversight, no insurance, just access. On the more structured side, companies like Rejuvenate Bio, Turn Bio, and Altos Labs are developing epigenetic reprogramming therapies that reset the age of cells. These are entering preclinical and early human trial phases now. But here's the catch. Early-stage participation often means signing up with no guarantees. You're monitored, sampled, scanned, but what happens to your body may not be reversible, and the full side effects may take years to emerge. So why do people volunteer? For some, it's desperation. Chronic illness, terminal diagnoses, the slow march of neurodegeneration. When death feels imminent, the idea of extending life is worth almost any risk. For others, it's conviction, a belief that they're contributing to the next phase of evolution, becoming pioneers of post-aging biology. And then there are the idealists, the ones who want to say they were first, the ones who want to help build the roadmap for future generations. They view the body as a tool and the experiment as a noble offering. But there's another category too, the exploited. People in economically vulnerable regions being recruited for trials they don't fully understand. Individuals offered compensation to become human testbeds for therapies that may carry hidden risks. Informed consent, in many cases, is more theoretical than actual. This opens the door to bioethics violations we haven't even begun to account for. Because let's be honest, testing anti-aging therapies isn't like testing flu medication. These interventions often involve genetic manipulation, immune system recalibration, cellular senescence overrides, and in some cases, permanent alterations to DNA expression. There's no guarantee the changes won't cascade into unintended mutations, tumor formation, organ rejection, or systemic inflammation years down the road. Are these possibilities being disclosed in the fine print? Sometimes. But often people are so eager for hope, they don't read the terms. And companies so eager to show results, they minimize the risks. And here's the deeper philosophical tension. Someone has to go first. There is no progress in science without human trials. Every medication, every vaccine, every therapy that now saves lives once required someone to risk theirs. And in the age of longevity, those willing to step forward may one day be remembered as heroes, or as the first casualties of a new kind of biological war. Would you do it? Would you take an injection that promises 30% more lifespan but has only been tested on mice? Would you consent to having your DNA edited in a foreign lab, knowing you can't undo what's done? Would you accept the possibility of becoming other, a post-human prototype, biologically different from the rest of your species? Because that's what's at stake. These aren't lifestyle tweaks. These are cellular identity changes, and the line between bravery and recklessness has never been blurrier. There's also the question of what happens to volunteers after the trial ends. Do they get lifelong medical support? Are they monitored for late-stage complications? Or are they forgotten once the data is harvested? Many early-phase trials don't have the infrastructure to support participants long-term. You're part of the experiment until you're not, which leads to the spiritual layer of all of this. To volunteer for an anti-aging trial is not just to put your body at risk. It's to hand over your timeline to an unproven process, to say, I'm willing to gamble my mortality in order to stretch it. That is not a decision that should be made lightly. That is not something to be influenced by marketing, social pressure, or ego. It's something only your soul can answer. Because what if it works? What if you get younger? What if your organs regenerate, your skin glows, your mind sharpens, and you suddenly have 60 more years of life and no map for how to live them? What if the people around you don't change, but you do? That's the deeper risk of longevity science, not just the biological, but the existential. You don't just alter your body, you alter your trajectory. You jump timelines. You may end up alive in a version of the world where everything you knew has expired, except you. So again, the question isn't, can we reverse aging? That's happening. The question is, who's willing to be the first? And are they walking in with full overstanding out or blind hope? Because the front lines of longevity aren't in labs anymore. They're inside the volunteers, and history will remember them. Hi, I am Adeline Atlas, 11 times published author, and SOS, School of Soul has a brand new series, the AI and Future Technology series. Look, you know the world is changing, and no, it's not going back to normal. Normal is over, and what's coming next is beyond anything we were prepared for. The School of Soul, AI and Future Technology series includes 319 videos on 1. The Download Society, How Data Has Replaced Destiny. 2. Predictive Future, Your next moves aren't random, they're forecasted. 3. Social Credit Systems, The Behavioral Economy Now Governs Access. 4. Hive Mind, Synthetic Telepathy and Collective Algorithmic Control. 5. Nanobots Inside You, Medical, Military, and Programmable Intrusions. 6. Grief Tech, AI-Fueled Digital Resurrection and Simulated Comfort. 7. Uploading Your Mind, Consciousness Transfer and Data-Based Identity. 8. Deep Fakes plus AI Clones, The Replication of Reality and Identity Theft. 9. Quantum Humans, The Merger of Biology with Quantum Systems. 10. Digital Afterlife, Where Your Data Goes When You Die. 11. Resurrection Science, Reviving Life Through Synthetic Methods. 12. Immortal Science, The End of Death as We Know It. 13. Longevity Science, Gene Editing, Anti-Aging, and Bio-Upgrades. 14. Designer Babies, Engineered Perfection Before Birth. 15. Artificial Wombs, Birth Decoupled from the Female Body. 16. 3D Printing, Printing Organs, Limbs, and even humans. 17. The Humanoid Era, The Rise of Synthetic Beings Among Us. 18. Legacy Humans, The Slow Phase-Out of Unmodified Analog People. 19. Smart Cities, Algorithmic Environments That Watch and Decide. 20. Cloud-Based Societies, Citizenship Without Borders or Bodies. 21. Hackable Humans, Emotion, Memory, and Behavior Under Code. 22. Biometric Scanning, Your Body is Your Password and Your Prison. 23. Sex Tech, Intimacy Reprogrammed by Machines. 24. Extinction of Gender, Fluidity, Deletion, and Design of Identity. Every topic is fully explored with real-world technologies, patents, case studies, ethical analysis, and future forecasts. These aren't someday discussions. This is already happening. Join the SOS School of Soul Vault to overstand the future before it's implemented on you.